on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmas, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Yeah. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Ja, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Here at Focus on Liberia, we amplify voices, confront challenges, and explore pathways to progress. Tonight, we turn our attention to the University of Liberia, an institution once revered as the intellectual heartbeat of our nation, now grappling with deep structural decay, political interference, and rising student unrest. Recent demonstrations led by the Student Unification Party have reignited public debate about the university leadership, learning conditions, and the role of youth activism in shaping national discourse. With dilapidated buildings, poor sanitation, and a shortage of qualified faculty, many are asking, is meaningful education still possible within these walls? Well, we'll hear directly from the students, those on the front lines of protest and those navigating the chaos, and from alumni who carry the legacy of this institution in their hearts. What's broken, what can be rebuilt, and who must be held accountable, and specifically, what can the students do? I have with me members of the Alumni Association here, and the university students, two university students are trying their best to get on, and we will wait for them. Let me introduce Mr. Isaac Smith. He's the National Vice President of the University of Liberia Alumni Association in the America. Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Thank you very much, Dennis. It's glad to be here.
I also want to welcome Alaska Western, who's also a member of ULIBA, that's the University of Liberia Association in the America. Welcome,
Thank you.
All right. At control, we have our friends at Kia Radio. So this broadcast is live on Kia Radio 95.9. I titled the discussion today as the life of a university student, or a day in the life of a student on the campuses of the University of Liberia. Let me go back in history. You were there, Isaac, and you were there, Alaska. Just give us a brief, intro on your connection with the university and what was life like at the time you attended. Let me start with you, Mr. Wisner.
What, as usual, when I was at the university about some 20 years ago, if I was there further than I do, but the university was the same. Actually, it had to do with teachers' salaries, and it had to do with students demonstrating protests either against government or against UL administration for some other reasons. Uh, Payment of salaries, and yes, those were the things. But at least there were some level of stability. For our own, academically, I can tell you that we have good teachers, and it was okay, much better, but almost the same thing, that is happening now. But always things almost happen the same way, It's not too different from the early 2000s to now.
Thank you. Isaac?
Yeah, just like Wisner is saying, I entered the university in 1984, and that was during the reign of President Samuel Kendo, the military leadership. Life for us at the university was it was calm in the sense that there were lots of things that engaged the students at the time, academic engagement. There were a lot of organizations that had competitive academic activities that students were tapping into that made going to school something that you wanted to be a part of. The Economic Student Association, the Lawana Christian Fellowship, the ISEC group, the Science Club, the Mathematics Student Association, and around with all of these different college organizations and groups that were going on, there were multiple scholarship opportunities that require students to actually study hard, make their grades to benefit from the scholarship. Because as low as the fees was, $37.50, it was quite difficult for many of us to find it. So we made use of the scholarships, and that was one of the reasons why students had to bump ahead to do so very well to get the scholarship and be in school. Um, the situation with uprising on campus and campus problem, faculty salary not being paid, uh, some of the instructional supplies and materials and resources that were needed for instruction were not available, led to some level of uprising as well. Many of you know of the famous moment when military men were sent on the university campus to get students from there. So, but think about it. At the time, most of our uprising was just on campus. We would not go to class, we would stand, and then we would shout and make all of the noise, as much noise across the street for the people to hear it. But we were not destroying property. We're not in the streets and bumping up things. Our leaders would stand up in the front and speak to the issues. And then of course we had the police or the military coming on campus was to remove students from campus so that they can go home. And sometimes it was bad even when that was happening. So in a nutshell, we've always had these situations where students were at the disadvantage in the learning process because resources were not available. But the level of the response and how we approached leadership was somehow different and than what it is today, because it seemed more like we have a militaristic student body that not even focusing on anything else than just being a military group of junta trying to instruct the authority what to do. So we've always had these things, and it's sad that the reason why we have them still exists.
Thank you. And the question, and the students are still trying to get in. The city has a heavy rain in Monrovia, so it's causing some difficulty here. But you are, members of the Alumni Association. What is different now? Or, tell me what are the conditions that you are hearing? Hold on.
The conditions we are hearing,
Yeah.
well, the dilapidation of the structural dilapidation is kind of a high. Um, Rooms and offices, classrooms are leaking. They don't have we always have never had sufficient chairs for everybody. I remember FQ when people used to stand to the window just to take notes. We always had those situations, but currently the conditions are much more deplorable and than what it used to be. And I don't have the first-hand information, but from images and pictures that we've seen, they don't look so very good. Not a reflection of what a higher academic institution should look like. You are
Yeah,
muted.
Yeah,
yeah. You can go ahead to Alaska. That's the physical. Both the physical. What's about instruction, learning? What are you hearing as member of the alumni association about learning conditions?
firstly, let me also touch the physical because I just spoke with some of the students, and they said, because I was concerned whether the protest this time was actually for salary payment. And they said, no, it's not just about salary payment, it's about
Right.
the all over condition of the university, which has to
Thank you.
do, yeah.
Thank you. Now we have a student of the University of Liberia who has just joined us. So if you can unmute, so the student will introduce himself. Or may I hear radio just unmute the button so we can get an introduction.
Am I clear there?
Yes, tell us your name and just a little introduction.
So basically, first, let me say thank you for giving us the platform, to communicate with Liberians in and out of the space. It is important for us because, like when I came in, I think I saw maybe views that are contrary to the level of our advocacy. So I think this platform is important for us to shape the approaches of how we do things and to, clear the doubt and the misconstrued, thinking about how we intend to engage. I'm Paul Emmanuel Yan, and I'm the current propaganda chairperson of the Revolutionary Vanguard Party. Permit me to bring you greetings from the leadership of the party, headed by Chairman Sylvester Wheeler, the chairman of the 33rd Central Committee and Politburo concomitantly, and the over 28,000 students on the campuses of the University of Liberia. It's a pleasure
Sal,
to be here tonight.
Please call your name slowly so that I can have it on the screen.
Pole Emmanuel Yan, Polay,
And last name?
Emmanuel Yan. Emmanuel Yan. The Yan is Nya.
Okay,
That's
no
my
N.
name. Yeah,
All right.
I'm the propaganda chairperson of
The,
SOUP.
the propaganda chairperson of SOUP. So, as
Yeah.
the propaganda chairperson of SOUP, what is your role? What do you do?
So my role is to communicate party positions, interpret party policies, and to basically provide political education for the militants of the Student Unification Party with the acquaintances of the chairman of the party and the co-chair party affairs. So I'm responsible to help the co-chair party affairs and the chairman and the Politburo to organize workshop, intellectual, engagement, and forum, debate, public speaking discourses, intellectual activities on the university campus. So I see this job, as a very strategic job in the Student Unification Party because it lingers with the students on the university campus to know what they're going through. So that's my role as propaganda chair of the party.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I know it's tough getting there to the studio. Also, before I bring in members, let me also introduce myself from Focus on Liberia. I entered the university the 1989. First semester I was doing English 003, remedial English. So I started 1989, second semester in the engineering college. Isa is another former student, and then Alaska, we all know a thing or two about university. So today, before we get to the advocacy part, I want you to tell me about conditions on the campuses of the University of Liberia, ranging from the learning condition to the physical and everything in between.
Basically, the university in its current format is at the worst stage ever. I cannot overemphasize the conditions of the university because this is something we've been airing for a, a years, even when this administration was not in leadership, the previous administration and previous administration. So it's very deplorable. According to the Global World University Index ranking, the University of Liberia is currently the number one dirty university in the world. So that ranking alone should tell you the conditions of learning on the university campus. A university space that is not conducive, that is unhygienic. The classroom are very deplorable, lack of chairs, lack of sanitary materials in the bathroom. The bathroom doesn't have running water. The university environment in itself is a contradiction to learning in the 21st century. So there are there are a lot of unspeakable things that we cannot talk about the university because the condition, like I said, is just completely bad. Bad as in bad and terribly bad. This is the reasons we, as a party and as an institution, like you said, we have not come to the advocacy part, are raising our voice because we, as a political group on the campuses of the University of Liberia, we've been able to do comprehensive research about the university and know the pivotal role that the University of Liberia have played. The University of Liberia have served as one of the most strategic institutions that have laid the framework for most of the democracy today that is enjoyed on the continent. L- During the time, the pre-independent, the post-independent era, during the struggle for independence, you had a lot of Africans commuting at the University of Liberia to acquire education to pave
Mm.
the way for structural governance all over Africa and the world today. But the
Thank you.
university cannot
Pauline, we'll come to that. I want to bring in the Alumni Association because we first want to hear the story, your story. So I will give chance to members of the Alumni Association to ask you their question as to how things are. But first tell me, your standing, your student, which department, what level, just a little bit more about yourself
so
on
I'm
the
I'm a,
academic side.
I'm currently a student reading economics and public administration at the University of Liberia, and I'm currently a senior student at the university. That's my current standing at the university.
How long, when you enter, how long have you been there?
I entered the university around 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the time I
Good.
entered the university.
All right. Well, Alaska, and is there anything you want to find out from our colleague?
Well, firstly, Mr. Yang, Comprehend, right? So
Yeah,
Yang is your last name, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Firstly, I must thank you very much for appearing, and I must tell you that I am encouraged by your utterance, and you look very intelligent. And I see you as a future leader for this country. And if you understand that Universal Liberia is the microcosm for the larger society, and that is why when at the university we try to do the right thing because university is what we call the lux in tenebris. And the fact that you are here today, you already appear to be a future leader, and you may be a leader shortly. So my question to you is, when things like this happen, what is your first step? If you have differences with, you got a good point. The condition of the university as a student leader, I must tell you that I'm a former member of SUP, and as a student leader, one of the student leaders. what is your first approach? Because mind you, you know that you don't want to enter university and there is disruption in your classes are stopped for many reasons. So as a student leader, what is your first approach when you know you have grievances? What is your first approach? What do you do?
So normally, let me speak first as an institution, as the spokesperson of an institution, the approaches that is carried out by the party, and then conclude as a person what we normally do. So normally, whenever there are issues on the university campus, what the party first they do, the party writes official communications to authorities involved based on the challenges that university students are faced with. The party then, after writing communications, do you know face-to-face engagement, ask for audiences from those individuals that are within administration or heading the state to add what was written in the communication to them. When we feel in our minds that our attention is not taken serious, we issue an official statement that is often read by the chairman of the party. That statement outlines the conditions university students are faced with, the conditions the University of Liberia is faced with, and how we intend that these conditions be addressed by the authorities that are clothed with the responsibilities to address them. If if the press statement now that is issued is not taken into consideration by the leadership of the day, what we do, we have multiple students awareness campaign, basically through Palaho appearances, intellectual discourses, official press briefing, regular, you know, press releases on the university campus for students to read. And at times, these releases are distributed in workplace, in market, in government offices and ministry, so that Liberians and the nation as a whole can be aware of what is going on the university campus and what are the conditions students are faced with. If we come to the conclusion that nothing is yielding result, then the party resort to its last form of advocacy, which is by interpreting the third law of dialectics that talk about the negation of the negation, in comparing whatever systems of the day, bringing it to its need to find amicable problem in a very speedy way to address the issue confronting at the University of Liberia. So this is the method that we've always used. Me personally have always followed these trends of the party engagement in making sure that issues confronting students are basically addressed through dialogue, first, diplomatic engagement, civil arrangement, and conversation. When things become hostile and the leadership of the day, as always, are not listening, then we refer to what we call our normal political struggle and rally.
Let me make a follow up. And you always sound like our days.
Oh, oh, oh,
So
hold on, Alaska.
let me make a
Let-
follow up. Yeah, let me just make
Alaska,
a
Alaska, hold on. Let's take it small.
Yeah.
I know that you're comrade.
I know why I asked that question. Is it
Hold
continuation?
on, Alaska. Alaska, can you hold on, please? Let me welcome another student who's joining us on the phone. Student, your name. Just give us your name.
Okay, thank you. My name my name is Chucky Radamil Thomas.
Chucky Thomas, a little bit about yourself. Are you a member of any student-based university? Okay. Wait, the connection is bad. Is reconnecting. All right. Is reconnecting, but he's supposed to join us too, but he's not being able to join us on the show. So we are trying to connect him on the phone, but it's still bad.
Conditions. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. Yang, before Go ahead with your follow-up, Alaska.
Yeah, I hope once the student come out, I can get chance at any time. But I hope he comes back. Uh, yes, I was saying, Combrian. I know during our days, we did almost the same thing, and it's just like those things that were happening during our days. But let me ask you: you guys, you have a student representation, right? You have also, and you have a leadership at also. And most of the time, it will be soup that is elected, also a soup representative is elected as also president. And also, president is a direct representative at the universal librarian faculty. Some universal librarian faculty when they have a faculty meeting. So, do you channel your grievances? And besides also, you have some big brothers.
Alaska,
You
your
have
question is getting too long. Hold on again. Just get to the point. We want to hear from the students.
yeah,
So get to the point.
but
But let me ask Mr. Thomas, are you there? All right. We are having difficulty connecting connecting you. So we will just let you go so we can continue. But Mr. Yan, let me before we go into the one of Isa, let me give Isa a chance. First of all, Mr. Yan, I want you to set the stage for us, right? Set the stage for us. What are some of the conditions at the university that Soup is complaining of constantly?
Okay. Firstly, the university need a comprehensive renovation.
Okay.
The university needs also transportation logistics. The university needs an advanced environment for learning that is both digital with a regular Wi-Fi or internet connectivities on the university campus. The university also need a very strong faculty profile and a sophisticated research outlook that will be able to attract, other foreign students or other best international acclaimed university into partnershiping with the University of Liberia. So these are the basic things that every serious minded tertiary institution of higher learning will need. Unfortunately, all of them are lacking on the university campuses. At this dispensation, the university doesn't even have running water in the bathroom. The university doesn't have a classroom that students will go and sit comfortably to learn. The university doesn't have chairs to accommodate over the 28,000 students on the university campus. The
Yeah.
university have almost nothing. Even
Right.
at this current dispensation, where people use projector to learn, the university still use chalk as if operating, a elementary or pre-elementary school
Mhm.
at this dispensation in the
And,
21st century.
and whose responsibility to provide those things? And if those things are not available, whose job it is to make sure that they are there?
Okay, firstly, the University of Liberia is a state-sponsored institution. The act that created the university is clear that 80% of the fundings for the operation of the university should come from national government. 10% should come from students, and 10% should come from concessionaires that should pay their social corporate responsibility to the Liberian students. So, on a over average, the government of Liberia will be responsible for the absence of these things on the university campus. Also, the University of Liberia administration could also be whole when these things are provided and they are not properly accounted for and funds are mismanaged. Like, for example, when Saulo Nelson was declared, issue of vote of no confidence by the faculty senate, President Boycott, you know, instituted an interim management team at the University of Liberia, headed by now the current ambassador to the United States of America, with a clear mandate to do a comprehensive assessment study on the university campus as per renovation, to make sure the university calendar is operated smoothly, but basically it was done with renovation. The president then did an assessment study, submitted a budget of around 33 million to the University of Liberia for renovation. Our intelligence sources then gathered that the university then received 3 million for renovation purposes, but that 3 million all of a sudden disappear in thin air. When the current president, President Mampine, came and made this report on her desk, there had been nothing done about it. The GAC had not been invited to, to give a comprehensive report as to how the fund was expanded, and the issues of corruption remain skyrocketing high at the university, even under the administration of an American trained on the university campus. So both the administration and the government of Liberia are equally should be responsible for the operation of the university campuses.
I know Dennis may have stepped out very shortly, but I want to thank you, Emmanuel, and many of the students who have. Oh, Dennis, you're gonna step out shortly. And I was just saying to Emmanuel that I want to thank him and many of the students who are deeply concerned about conditions on the university campus and making sure that it is reinstated to a level where it is competitive to other universities around the world. Um, we, as students and graduates of the university, we share the same sentiments that you share. We are just as equally concerned. And as a matter of fact, we have grouped ourselves in a way to be able to assist that process. But just like you rightly said, the university is a state-run university, a state-owned university, and the bulk of the responsibility for its management and the ensuring of all of what is needed for it to operate comes from government. Unfortunately, over the years, and not just over the years, over the decades, the problems that the university have faced, the many crises that the students have been involved in at the university have been the result of the lack of government attending to its need of ensuring that the university has what she has to operate fully. And so there has to be a breach in the gap where the need are so really notable, and the resources are far less to meet those needs. And that is one of the areas where an organization like ours come in to see how we can be assisting to the university. The question then is asked, a very key question. The process that is involved that you take has always been the process that students and student leadership are always taking at the university. Unfortunately, that last resort that we talk about has never been successful over the years. It has always been even more detrimental to the university. And if we see over time that this particular process has never ever yielded a positive result, the question is, why then do we resort to it? If, and the very president of the university, the very faculty of the university, the very leadership of the university is concerned about the needs and the lack of the resources to support those needs. It's a struggle when you are in a place and you don't have the support that you need. So they are not just sitting, they are just as pounding, except that the pounding that they do to make sure they get what they need is not in the form that we will see it vividly in the street, the faculty or the president will stand up to say, we need this. If we don't do that, we'll close the university. But it's a struggle that has been going. And then we got to begin to find a way that we can really get to government so that they can be able to attend to the needs that they have. And we are hoping that we can really get to that place, because I agree with you. University is at the bottom of the pit when it comes to its standard and its statute among universities
So
around the world.
thank you. So to continue that now, Mr. Yang, let me welcome uh, Jimmy Eastman, who is a graduate of the University of Liberia. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dennis, good to be here. I know Mr. Smith. Hey, Isaac, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jimmy. How you
Many,
doing?
many years ago, boy.
It's
Jimmy,
been a while.
so Mr. Yang, let me ask you this before Jimmy comes in. The question at the end there is, if these things are not available, you need a lab, you need a clean environment, all the things you need, if they are not available, whose job it is to call on the administration or the government to provide them? Is it you or somebody else?
SUP have an integral role with the Liberian society.
Who assigned that role to SUP?
We see it as history. We see it as an obligation to speak for the voiceless and those who want to raise this concern but doesn't have the platform and the voice to do so. History has dictated since the formation of the Student Unification Party that it remains the only moral compass to air out the major concern that is affecting Liberian students and Liberia as a whole. This is the reasons our advocacy is not only narrow on the wall of the University of Liberia, but also in the entire space of the university and even on international issues. So our responsibility as a party is to add concern on the university campus based on the obligations, sworn to us through history. And let me just respond to Mr. Smith. He said something that the university administration basically are not just sitting, they are doing something, and they are working, and maybe it may not appear that maybe it may appear to us that they are now working or they are now receiving support and this and that. We are currently on campus, and let me just maybe add this so you guys can understand why basically we were calling for the resignation of the current president. Maybe I think that was where you wanted to talk. I may not be exactly correct in this and that. My parent was not appointed on the University of Liberia to be a university president. We believe as student leadership, it was irresponsible and not mature on the part of the government to appoint somebody only because they wanted a fundraiser president. The major criteria that was set up by the search committee and the vetting committee to produce president of the University of Liberia after the exit of Saulo Nessin was to bring somebody that they thought has the international acclaim face to lobby for the university and to take the burden of the University of Liberia for national government. Mapaya accepted on these conditions and on these basis to be appointed on the university campus as the university president. So when she that should be raising funds for the university to mitigate some of the challenges that the university is going through for national government, she should also be brought to the spotlight because this was the commitment she made to the search committee, the university students, the board of trustees, and the people of Liberia, that if the government is not prepared to fully fund the university, I as a president, will work in my own way with the international connection that I have to lobby international organizations and multilateral partners to invest in the University of Liberia through fundraiser to initiate multiple programs that will be benefit to the university students. It is because of this confidence that the government have in her to do these international lobby that she was appointed. So now that she is appointed on the university campus, the basic thing that she was appointed for is not coming to fruition. She's not bringing funds to the University of Liberia, but she's being added burden or subtracting more funds from the university on the lucrative salaries and benefits she get as a person of the university. So we believe that she's not working, but she's just sitting and exploiting the situation and the condition at her own benefit.
Thank
So,
you.
So
so,
that's what I just wanted to add.
Jimmy.
Before that, now I just wanted to say something to Nyan. Nyan, you made an assertion, and I hope you are clear and right with the assertion that in the criteria that was set for the search for university president, it was clearly stated that they're looking for someone. Have you seen that criteria? And is it anywhere stipulated in the criteria that they're looking for someone with international connection who will be a fundraiser, or is an assumption on the part of students to justify the demands that you are currently making at this point? Because I saw the document that was sent out in terms of the search for a university president.
Okay. It is not a speculation. When the search committee was established, we were opportune to have meeting with then the former president or the interim president at the time as an content, and we're asking what are some of the criteria the university is looking for. And was able to, unveil the criteria and the documents to all. And he told us with what was written on the document that the University of Liberia is looking for a fundraiser president. That was a major requirement for my parent getting the job. So it is not speculation. It's something that my parent knows about. She made commitment with. It's something that the board of trustees know about. It is something that the former president, the former interim president of the university know about. Like I said, when they said at that time, we said this is irresponsible on the part of the government. You don't want your premier institution on the basis that you want somebody to come and bring extra money to run the university. If my parent has her own international friends that she thinks can help the university, it should be on goodwill venture, not something that should be mandatory in the search committee proposal to hiring president on the university campus. So this is now speculation. This is something that was communicated to student leadership in multiple meetings when we met the former president, then and the search committee. So it's not something that we're speculating.
Okay.
Thank you. Jimmy.
Yeah, Mr. Yant, thank you for elaborating on all the issues that you guys experience now. We are all graduates of the great Luke Centenary, and we're very proud of that school. But we understand the kind of issues that are going on now. And we thought it was a good gesture by President Weah to make tuition free for higher learning institution like the LU. But we're also noticing that it is causing a serious operational issue, even not only in LU but also in Harper with the WVST college they have over there. Practically speaking, there's not enough money in the budget to run LU, and without the students' contribution, even that meager fee they used to pay. One of my colleagues said we used to pay $37.50 back in the day. You could do a whole semester with 37, and we still couldn't find the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those what it is way back. I want to ask you, looking at it practically, do you think that there should be bring back some kind of fees for students to pay to help the university be more functional? Because right now the university looks paralyzed. From my viewpoint, it almost looks paralyzed that they can't really do it. They can't make it with the way things are. And is this in the foresight of the party, the Vanguard Party, to see how they can help the university remain operational?
And Jimmy, before you come to that question, the issue of I put the link there, the search committee, their criteria, and I think what what Yang is referring to is in if you look at the qualification, the one someone who will be building and maintaining productive linkages with institutions of higher learning and educational support organizations at home and abroad. So they have a lot of things here, and I put the link there for even our readers to look at that later on. The university seeks a dynamic, energetic, and visionary leader in higher education, and women are particularly encouraged to apply. The successful candidate must possess notable professional standards, integrity, and demonstrate a commitment to work with faculty, students, staff, and board of trustees to promote the development of the university. He or she will serve as the chief executive and work closely with the board to ensure that the university implements its strategic goals and promote its broad range of academic programs. Those programs are situated on 4 campuses, or 9 undergraduate colleges, 3 professional schools, and 7 undergraduate programs, and 5 institutes, and so on. So if you have time, each of you can read that. Let me welcome Mr. Anthony Sear, who is joining us. Welcome, Anthony.
Dana, it's good to be here.
Thank you. Jimmy, and then let me go to Comrade Yang
Yeah.
to respond to Jimmy's questions, and then Alaska will come in, and then Mr. Sear.
So firstly, let me say, Mr. Weir did not do kind gesture to the university students. It was now a kind gesture. Like I said, the act that created the University of Liberia is clear. The university should be 80% funded by the government, 10% by concessionaires, and 10% by university students. I believe, in my mind, the university students are fully contributing at 10% through registration. What have happened is the deliberate failure of the government of Liberia to meet up with its overall objective of over 80% to the University of Liberia, and concessionaires that are to contribute 10% to the University of Liberia. The problem confronting the university is now basically that free tuition was introduced on the university. Even when there was no free tuition, there was still absence of chairs on the university campus. The bathroom was still in its worst stage. The university was still not being renovated. So we cannot say because Mr. Weir made a free tuition pronouncement, which was not again a gesture by him to the university students, but in fulfillment of the act that created the University of Liberia, that it was because of that that education on the university campuses have deteriorated. We say no to that. And we want to say this. We believe, like I said, this is a deliberate attempt by the government of Liberia to not meeting up its objective. The and former President Hassan Content, like I said, made a proposal after the president have given a mandate to do a comprehensive feasibility study on how much it will cost to renovate the University of Liberia. And there was a budget of 33 million that was proposed and given to the office of the president and in possession of the current Minister of Finance. Since that budget was proposed, there have not been a cent given to the university. But guess what? Mr. Boyka was given $10 million to build retirement home in Lofa County. The government officials in this current government are building multiple structures in and around Liberia from state resources that have been looted. Should we say because free tuition was pronounced, that's the reason Mr. Boyka is building over 10 million? If that 10 million was given to the University of Liberia for renovation purposes, it could be a very good amount of money that could push the advancement of the university of the environment on the university campus. But because the government is very not sensitive to the priorities of its citizens, they will always revert into reactionary tendency that will push the students against the wall in compelling them to take revolutionary actions against some of the bad administrative policies and practices within the state. So the attempt, but the reasons for which the University of Liberia is stated where it is not because of free tuition. It is because the government is just deliberate in its failure towards University of Liberia students and the people of Liberia as a whole.
And yeah, having said that, from what you just stated, we can conclude that the problem at the university has nothing absolutely to do with who heads the university as its president. If you and you have talked about history of the university, history of soup, and I would like to know at some point the linkage between the student leadership and soup as a political party. But if you look at the history that you talk about, we're talking about as far back as the 70s, way before probably you were born, the 60s and the 70s and the 80s when we were at the university. We've always had these problems because of the very reason inability of government to take on its responsibility to fund the university as it should be funded. So regardless of who you put there as president, with the connection, with the knowledge, with the degree, with the capacity, if government does not make available its funding source to keep the university up, that president would be just as weak, incapable, incapacitated, non-functional to deliver the services to the students in terms of its academics and growing to develop the manpower of the youth for future leadership. And so you all of what you're saying, I hope at some point we all can begin to see that it is not the person who has the university. It is you can be there as a president of university if they give you the $33 million and you have a structure in place for how it's going to be used and you use it appropriately without your PhD and what have you, those things will be done. But when the funding and the resources are not made available by the owner of the university, then those who lead the university as its heads can do nothing. And that's where you come from. And so, and I ask that question again, that when we go through all of the steps and the processes of the diplomatic engagement and we resort to the revolutionary tactics, it really doesn't help anyway because what happens is it hurts the situation further because of the destruction and the damages that will occur to this already barely minimum things that we have to use, and we destroy them and we can use them any further and compound the problem when it comes to how do we now regroup, re uh, uh, replace some of these things that our actions are destroyed. So I just want to know what is the connection. You talk about history giving soup that mended to speak out on behalf of others. What is the role of the student government, the OSU, University of Liberia student government, who should be speaking on behalf of the student, who should be championing the cause of the student? Where are they? And how do you assume that role over them by history?
I think also is no more. But go ahead, Emmanuel.
So
Or
thank
OSU
you.
is no more.
No, there's also now. There's also in 2013, since the disruptions of the elections on university campus, the board of trustees put a perpetual ban that is still on student lead politics on the university campus till current, something that is very dictatorial and undemocratic. So for now, also operate in an interim form where it has different representation from different political parties in its organs to run a full function leadership. So for now, SOUP has the standard bearer and the president of us of the interim arrangement, that is President Jacqueline Brownell Tingwell Ellison. PROSA has the student representative, that is William Sano. SIM has the Secretary General. SIM decide to back off the arrangement. And then Studa has the vice president, that is Wong Gapeg. So this is the current structure of OSU because of the different ideological belief within the interim enrichment. Also appears to be doesn't have that collective voice now because there are multiple internal disagreement within the ranks and file of political organizations on the campuses of the University of Liberia. So based on these barriers, the Student Unification Party have come, is there to close in the gap and provide that vibrant political advocacy for the university students until there is a consummated also leadership that we are pushing for the university to go to a general elections where a single political party will be within the union building and runs the affairs of the university students without an interim arrangement. So with the interim arrangement, there are a lot of difficulties in meeting key decisions based on the political interplay and political interference for different political parties. So with that, SUP has to come in to play that pivotal role as the new advocative voice on the university campus based on a long-lasting history. So like yesterday, where you have a dominant SUP or SUP leadership, where SUP used to speak directly to the also leadership, and that mandate is communicated to the University of Liberia administration and the government of Liberia. It's not like that anymore because a SUP channel is concerned through also. It is taken to an executive committee that is debated on with different political parties, the Pusa seems to that and SUP. So normally at time what have happened is that there have been a gang of coalition against the president that is always a militant of SUP among the coalition members within the University of Liberia entrance student leadership, that whatever position comes from SUP doesn't goes, as an official decision or positions from also. So because of that, we cannot allow the party to continue being salaba internal and external reactionary from within the student government. So we must come out as a body to fill in that gap because history has no place for vacuum. So this is how the party is operating at this current format until we can reinstate a popular elections where there will be a soup or suit led government in maybe the soon to be coming time.
Okay, all right. So let me come in again, Comrade Young. Where I was going when I was interrupted, uh, as you stated, uh, when it comes to representation. But first, let me give you hope that when I was asking about around you before you take action, whether you have some big brothers or people you think you can consult before you take action. Um, I know also, first of all, that arrangement it makes it a representation of all the political parties on campus. So that arrangement, although it's interim, but I think it's very strong. That particular arrangement you're talking about, where there is representation from different political parties. So it looked to me as a very strong group because you safeguard your ideas before taking decision. And I understand the head of that group represent you at the level of the faculty. So it means that the head of that group goes to a meeting. My concern is that instead of doing those things that we did back in the past, and it resulted to arrest of students, suspension of students, expulsion of students, in this age, what I'm thinking is that we could do a carry on a new channel. There should be a paradigm shift from those revolutionary tactics to a different one approach that will bring non-school closure. For example, if you have the Alumni Association, both in Liberia and here in the diaspora, we are your big brothers. We can put hands around you. If some, as here as one of the officials of the Alumni Association in the United States, I want to start beginning to give you guys hope. So look, if there's a problem in Liberia, you can call us. Our lines are open. There's things that we can. There's a way we can intervene in Liberia. We can help. We can even help to talk on your behalf instead of coming with all these things before you could even open your eyes. Some of those things that you want to be done can be resolved in a twinkle of your eye by just consulting the alumni in Liberia, the alumni in the United States. So that's why I started with the mentor. That at what point in time do you take action? What are the steps you take? And the first question I ask you, what step what the approaches you take when things like this happen. Because you have big brothers. I graduated from university many years ago. But however, my interest is there. That's my alma mater. And I will always want the University of Liberia to be open. So that is the reason why I was asking about the leadership of the school. Saying you have a leadership, you always and the leadership is being led by a supist, you know, a supist. So you always try to channel your grievance through the head, or the head will represent you at the faculty. If that fails, then you have other big brothers that you can contact. So at this point in time, I know the vice president is on. I know he will agree with me that look, our lines are open here. After they can contact us, we can give you our private lines so that you can be able to communicate with us, the entire leadership, so that we can ease these problems. Currently, I think you are aware, the University Alumni Association here has project committees that are trying to see how we can mitigate those problems that are already at university. City capacity, dilapidated bathrooms, the classrooms. So yeah, I just want to give you hope. And as we leave from here today, I will get the information. And in fact, the Japanese brownie thing by my niece, and, they need to contact us, so that we can move forward. Yeah, so that's what I want to say. That they let's try to change that approach, that radical approach that will lead to arrest and closure of schools, and use a different mentor that will help move us forward. Let me stop this time and give another person a chance.
Thank you, Mr. Wisner, for your commentary there. Before I get to Emmanuel, who I have some tough questions for, what I'm hearing from you is that you use the word big brother. We're talking about running an institution, the premier flagship institution of our country, and you are saying they should contact big brothers, contact the alumni, and all that. I mean, is the alumni too now aware? These students have registered their concerns. They have articulated the issues that they are confronted with almost every semester, almost every day, and you heard those things. You want them to come and be brother you before you step in? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I don't think that's what he's saying, yo.
That is for Wisner.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Smith.
Please respond and then.
No, but let's comrade
See,
Comrade, I think he was right to answer the question because from the same place. But what I'm saying is that look, instead of taking action, and you on the ground, you know what's happening. We are abroad. Before you take action, even in a home where you are, when your father, you disagree with your father, instead of going to just do things out of the way, you can consult your brother in the house or your sister. Say, but this is what dad did.
but this is not a family matter. This is a national issue. This is an institutional crisis we have in here.
So
And you
the
want
alumni
the person to play
association,
family on the issue. That's what I'm hearing from you.
the alumni association is bigger. So if you know that alumni association have a lot of prominent people that can even call the president, that can even call the Universal Liberian president or call the president of Liberia. So you talk about alumni association. These are not small people, that people who can.
So Mr. Wisner, in essence, you are saying that the government fail you, come to us, the alumni, we can help. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
If the government intend to fail you, if you have problem with the government, can find other remedy, better remedy that will cause trouble.
Thank you. Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Same question for you.
Yeah, so see it. I think the thought process here is not the family oriented thing. I think is how do we make use of the network, the cycle of network that we have to our advantage. And the situation the students are facing, I alluded to that. It's not strange, it's not new. Those of us who were at the university and those who were there before us from the 70s and the 80s, we all experienced the same problem. The lack of government taking on its responsibility to fund the university as it should. And one of the reasons why we exist is because We know that will always be the case. And if we solely dependent on the government to do everything that the student need, they definitely would not do it. So we exist to kind of assist to bridge that gap, whether it's in the area of academic, whether it's in infrastructure, and all of those other needs that the university have, that we can be able to pay back and pay forward, because the university kind of invested in us through the education that we got over the years.
So, Mr. Smith, in essence, you are saying that this is a reality that you live, they are living.
Yes.
The fact that it has not changed over the years, we are sure that it's not going to change now, even with the change of administration and president. And that the approach of confrontation, protestation, has either contributed to the problem or worsen the whole situation. So you are saying, change your tactics, network with the alumni, network with other people, and let's find a solution. Protestation has never helped. It's not going to help you. You're just wasting your time. Is that what it is?
Partly, because if historically the revolutionary approach to protest and destruction that has never helped in the process, would that help at this time? And I will give you an example. When we had a visitation of 3 university administrators, Dr. Barbara Bond, Benetta Tai, and what's the guy name? The 3 of them visited us in 2023-24, and they sat down.
Was that Norris?
Yeah, Norris 12. And we said, look, we know there are multiple problems on the university. How can we assist you? The university, they said, Dr. Bond, Dr. Don said, and she is the dean of the medical college and the medical program. She mentioned that, look, one of the problems that we're currently facing on the Fender campus is that the dormitory is far beyond the main campus. It's somewhere in the bush. And the walkway from the dormitory to the main building is so vast, it's wide, it's a long distance, and that entire place is in darkness. And it creates a high security scare for students at the university. They didn't just kind of ask, they came with a concept that they brought to us. And the concept was that if we were to work along with them to install about 40 solar panel lights, that would help the security situation there. We adopted that concept. We spent our men on the ground. They did an analysis and assessment and determined that it will be more than 40 solar panel lights. The estimate was 75. We launched a project immediately. And in the process, we were able to have a graduate who has a solar panel company in Liberia, very reputable, PowerTech. And when he heard that this is what we're doing, he jumped on board and said, okay, I will kind of spearhead the project. And in the end, I will also contribute 10 solar panels, to the point that at the end of the process, we installed 85 solar panel lights on the Fender campus. And the students have testimony to the fact that, it had brought a lot of relief to them. So what I'm saying is, look, we can change the tactics, we can network, we can begin to try other means and see how it will work, and see if it will work. But the bottom line is that the government has always been lacking in its ability to fund the university adequately for her to deliver to the students what they need. So that they can.
Jimmy, are you in agreement here? Like, this is a reality that protestation, agitation is not going to change, and collaborative solutions involving the students, national government, and aluminum, and everybody is the way to go here, and that the students should surrender their advocacy for better learning conditions, protest against the conditions at the university. Let's do solution, forget a protestation, because it has never helped and will not help. It will not even make government to increase the funding. Are you in agreement? Because you live this reality too, Jimmy.
LU students have always been the conscience of Liberia. I would never advocate for them to surrender their advocacy. But I do understand using different approaches to resolve issues. Okay.
Mhm.
And the approach outlined by Isaac and Mr. Wisner is,
Mhm.
can we do this in a family way? Because we all being affected, we know that the constraints of the government. What other
Mhm.
way? What can we do? You know, just look like a family. Your pa is out of a job, or he lost his job recently, but you still have to buy food in the house. You still have to take care of things. What else can we do? Can we go outside and walk the streets? Say, oh, our pa ain't got money. Our pa doesn't have money. We protesting, or can we come together and find another solution? I'd much rather coming together and find a solution if we possibly can. We may not be able to tackle all the issues, but some of the issues, like was pointed out, how they took care of the lighting issue, which was thousands and thousands of dollars. That was one issue that was taken care of. So your approach to things could mean a whole lot of difference. It could spell, because now we have people working in unison instead of working against each other. We could play a tag team as one group goes to one university to rally support or funds. Another group appeals to businesses and corporations within the country. There's several ways to approach this. I especially know that the university could be, I mean, without internet, how can we expect those children to, or I could call them children, but students to learn? This should be a priority, because as long as they have access to the internet, they have access to books and any kind of information they need. They will not be stifled. That should be prime and center. And I honestly believe this type of approach, where we all say, how can we solve this problem, is definitely will yield a lot of great benefits. So yes, the students do have their advocacy, and I wouldn't strip it for them, but there are different ways to approach a matter. And if something is not working in one way, then you try another way. That's what and I agree with that totally, 100%.
See it,
Thank
see
you.
it.
No. Hold on. Let me get
Okay.
to him. All of you spoke, and I need to
Okay.
bring Emmanuel in. He is the main guest here, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Emmanuel, you listening to the veterans. This one lived their student life and had these same experiences. There is a parable that, when they play the older man said, I don't care how the younger man can run, he will not see what the older man will see. I'm not saying it right. Then you're not here to help me. You are the king of parables. So, but Emmanuel, they are speaking from live experiences as student and outside of student life, and they've lived to see what reality is. The reality is that the problem is not the president. It may be part mode of the government not funding, but this reality, their protestation, their advocacy, is not going to change it. Because if we were to change it, it would have changed it, because I don't know of any institution that protests in Liberia other than the Student Unification Party. And I salute all of you for speaking out in the way you know best. I will never quash that away, no day. But we are talking about reality now. Do you agree with what they are saying? Does that make sense to you? That look, protestation has not helped, and so maybe let's join the faculty, let's join the university, let's join the alumni, sit down and find solution. And the protestation is just a waste of time.
So Super Sub is basically a solutions searching institution. We
Okay.
search for solutions
Mhm.
more than we create problems. They
Okay.
have been misconstrued that we are the problem maker on the university campus, but our intent is to search for solutions. I may now equally agree, I may partly agree to a lower extent and disagree to a higher extent. The approaches that we use as a party cut across every approaches a student organization will use if they want to get result. If people think that the protest is not working, we think this is the only means and this is the only way the government can listen. Even though their listening is only on the basis of calming situation down for a bit, but it brings at time a lot of temporary relief to the university students.
For example,
Since
give me
we
instances.
that's where I'm coming.
Thank you.
Since we launched this renovate or fix the university campaign under the then leadership of Chairman Momo Peter that led the party from the 2020 up to Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. Then there was a crisis in the party and now Chairman Sylvester Wido. We've been doing pragmatic approaches of engaging the government of Liberia through multiple dialogues and communications behind the scene meetings, informing and explaining and begging the government to focus its attention on improving the university space. Basically, through the ideas of having the bathroom renovated or having running water in the bathroom, addressing the unhygienic and the sanitary needs of the university. Since we started a couple of months ago, we were able to have meetings with a couple of government officials. And as we speak, even though all is appearing to be slow, the government of Liberia came on the university campus through water and steward, and they are quote unquote about to dig hole, a borehole, to have the bathroom connected with water. The current speaker again went on the university campus and carried some camo and launched his own initiative to renovate the university. These actions, in our view, we consider them as political because it only appears to addressing the issues, but it only provide minimum temporary solutions. The point here is there have been a there have been almost 4 years of diplomatic engagement, consistent pragmatic advocacies through dialogue, communications, and not a single official of government have paid visit on the university campus to say, I make commitment to this. But since we ended the stage of diplomatic dialogue and revert into protestation, they are coming in. So we believe the more we vibrate the system, the more we engage, the more we make the university and the country appear that the government is not listening, and we have multiple media institutions that are quietly doing well for our advocacies, airing the story about the University of Liberia. The government feel embarrassed. Our responsibility is to embarrass them, to address the university concern in a more pragmatic way. If you write them communications, they see it. I don't believe they can even read those communications when it's before them. The only time they know there's a problem when people are on the street going local here, then they send their uncivilized barbaric police to unleash terror on university students and peaceful protesters. That's the time at time that comes to temporarily calm the situation. Could we continue with this method? To understand, we said no. Could there be any approach to maybe have, like we said, getting everybody on board? Yes, we have never excluded that possibility from our engagement. Maybe we could do it, but will it yield result? This is something we bet that it will not. Because what?
Thank,
Like
thank,
like you said, The problem on the university campus is not basically the appointment of president. The problem on the university campus is the political will of a current administration to focus its attention and understanding that the University of Liberia is the nation's premier institution. Therefore, emphasis and focus must be placed on it in a way that the university will appear to be a top priority of any government. Any government that does not see it that way, you can have multiple fundraisers, you can have multiple rallies. You will not be able to raise as much money as you think you can raise to address the structural infrastructure barrier at the University of Liberia. Like I said, we are talking about 33 million a year. That's not small amount of money. And currently, according to the modern dispensation of fundraising, nobody want to get money to renovate bathroom on a university campus. People will want to sponsor research program. People will want to sponsor programs in STEAM education, science and technology. People will want to sponsor programs based on the current reality of global advocacies. That's where international multilateral partners will want to invest their money, not to go renovate bathroom, not to go provide here. These are things that can be, mitigated through proper budgetary appropriation and government commitment to the university. So
Thank
we are
you.
saying yes, all the alumni association, the veterans of the university can get involved, but will it bring the speeded needed solutions to address the major issues that the university is confronted with? I believe it's a no to that.
Thank you. The people want to join the conversation, so very soon we'll call our man in studio there to announce the local numbers. And then we have people in the US too. But I have two simple questions for you. Number one, what if you did a root cause analysis? Because administration after administration, Isa was there from 84, Jimmy was there before that time, I was there 89. The problem is still there. In your view, what is the root cause? Because one administration, one president after the other, we still have the same problem. What is the root cause to this problem, and what solution are you proposing?
The government doesn't have a national priorities to target education and make sure the population is illiterate. I think the root cause of the problem is political. The reason is the more the government downplay education, you birth a dominant illiterate population that can be monetized and politically controlled at the ballot to keep few group of elites in leadership that will continue to recycle and pattern of hijacking state leadership. Because the more literate the population, the more education and professional people are, they try to make decisions from an informed perspective where now they will not just be following petty cash. But if the population is held on a hostage through illiteracy, the government or any government of the day will use illiteracy as a weapon against the people to always secure vote. This is the reasons you see the budget for education is always low. The budget at the University of Liberia is always low. The budget to target priorities of any civilized society or governance is always low in Liberia. So this is basically a political, organized, deliberate plan by not just the government of Joseph Boyka, but those political leaders that have no values for education and just want to keep the Liberian space and the University of Liberia as a testing ground for their political, chicaneries and campaign.
Thank you. So if you see people that are in government, and I give you an example, the current finance minister was in the same seat you are now. What will such person now is the one that you are going against to say you don't have an interest. Okay, so think about that as you do your advocacy. But my question is if somebody is watching your back, at least try your stomach. There are other little things that students can do, like the bathroom. Can you guys not? What are some of the little things that you can do as student group?
Oh,
You help apart from agitation or advocacy.
And we've been doing it. Normally before classes open, we go on the university campus. We have a fixed leave campaign on the both campuses where we'll go with plenty chairs where students normally sit. We make sure that environment and that spaces are clean. Like for in the park, there are multiple times we go in the park and clean the park and make sure the park is clean because that's where students commute. We go on the Fennel campus where students, normally sit and to have lunch or to have maybe their spare time. We build reef benches there so students can sit, and have their spare time to rest and this and that. These are things that we do in our own way because we don't have the financial resources. So what we think we can use with our energy to better the University of Liberia campuses, we always do, and we are consistent doing it. It's something that we do every semester. At the beginning of the semester and at the end of the semester, we have a cleaning up campaign and awareness campaign for university students. And there are multiple organizations on the university campus also involved in these multiple campaigns on the university campus to give the university a facelift. If students were not doing it on the university campus could be maybe like a jungle.
Emmanuel.
Thank you.
Emmanuel.
I want to let
Yeah.
me bring in a caller, Mr. Sear, and then you can come in, sir. Sorry, you've been waiting.
Okay.
And this is a veteran of soup, Kalabo Gonglo. Kalabo, you are live.
Yes, yes. Why you have to call my name? I have to call my own name. This is Calabo Gong calling. I'm happy to make a little contribution here with my junior comrade Imaya Pole. I think I agree with Emmanuel's argument that the problem at the University of Liberia is political. But that's one side of it. I'm happy that Mr. Smith, my good dear friend here, Westlaw, they're involved in the Alumni Association. But I would love to see the University Alumni Association also probably have an advocacy committee that will work with students on the campus, to get engaged at different level of advocacy, not just fundraising. Fundraising is good. I think at the university, part of the challenge I see is we have less protestation, we have less advocacy. We need more action at the university. Yeah, it's why I argue that way. In Liberia today, in post-war Liberia, from 2005 up to present, there are different accounts that I've seen, through research. All those who consider themselves, or in the eyes of the public, who the public perceives them as millionaires in Liberia, 80% of them are from the government, are people who are serving public service. And we all know salary in Liberia for most civil servants and for most even ministers, if you consider tax bracket, it's low. 60% of those who are perceived to be millionaires because of their wealth, their property possession, and what have you, come from the legislature. So if you combine the student wealth in the country and what is allocated to education, including the University of Liberia, it's mega. So that's why we need more advocacy, even from the Alumni Association, to make public servants know that if we argue that the future of any country lies in the young people, then we need to put most of our money to develop the young minds. Because if we abandon that role, we are basically saying that Liberia has no future.
Thank you.
And I agree with Emmanuel argument that the reason government has been education, even after it was an investment, and politicians do that with for purpose of reaping. Every election year, they reap investment. Illiterate, less informed population go to the polls, give them power.
Thank you, Mr.
And that's
Gonglo.
why I think we need more of them. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have callers from Liberia? Our time on the radio is almost up. So, Emmanuel, our man at control, can he announce the call so we can have some people calling from Liberia?
I think he left us out to get something.
Oh, okay. Mr. C.
Thank you, Dennis. Emmanuel, here's my question for you. If the government were to offer soup a seat at the table for higher education reform, what would be your top 3 priorities and how will you implement them?
Thank you. So if soup have the opportunities to be a key player in making sure they have a voice in what impact the university students, our first our first priorities will be one to make sure there are proper budgetary appropriation for the University of Liberia because the university cannot operate in its current format
And
with
give me a
limited.
number, Emmanuel, because it always been around 25, 28, 30 million, and it has not helped. So what would be the number you would be proposing?
So the number for the current number now is around 33 million.
Okay.
I will want to propose a budget around 80 to 100 million because the current 33 million, 90% of those figure goes towards salary. The remaining 10% goes towards stationaries, logistics, and running the university, which is a staggering low. So when we have a budgetary appropriation of around maybe 80 to 100 million, what's going to really happen is that it's going to improve the university environment basically by upgrading the infrastructural outlook of the university and presenting the university as a up-to-date university. It's also going to improve the research outlook by investing in professors that are well trained to provide quality knowledge to the University of Liberia. The next thing I will be looking at and will be taking into consideration is that the University of Liberia needs to offer solutions courses at the graduate and the professional level that Liberia is currently in need of. Most of our economists, most of our engineers, we have a very strong medical school. So we could say, yes, we have a very strong medical school, but I think it's not that sophisticated to have the University of Liberia Graduate School offering master and PhD program in STEAM educational courses in economics, physics, chemistry, science and technology, information, and IT, so that the University of Liberia and the university and the republic can have a sophisticated white force that will be able to provide solutions for the minimum problems that we are be facing with in the country. For example, most of our roads during the Ellen's administration, the roads that was built from Morovia to Bicano, the road that was built from Morovia to Ganta was all done by SICO, a Chinese company. But you have the University of Liberia offering civil engineering and engineering courses. But our engineers are not building our roads. Why? Because the University of Liberia is not sophisticated to that extent to empower the young people and to produce a more vibrant and productive workforce for Liberia. So that can only happen if the university graduate program is providing a solution-based career and professional program for Liberians youth and Liberian citizens. So these are some of the recommendations we will make and some of the approaches we think the government would think should be addressed.
Thank you. Thank you. Our time with the radio station is almost over, and so we will be concluding soon. But we want to is our producer there now to announce the number for callers?
Maybe I can get him.
Well, we want you to be there. If he's not here, we'll continue broadcasting. So,
Okay.
Mr. Wisner, anything you want to
I
say?
know. Well, if it's not there, we'll continue. We'll continue. What my Leonard brother, soup, and that's why we continue to be proud of university students because soup itself, once you join a political party or even the party alone, make you to be academic inclined. And and we said this, and the only thing we know now as people who said before, long before, you know, more than 30 years ago, people who been in the process. Uh, I know you are the only person representing your school, but I know your colleagues are listening. And let it go to your colleagues who are listening. Now, look, they praise us. And as somebody said, we will not start school soup from checkmating the government. You always have to checkmate the government or the organization or the University of Liberia because that was soup, the what the political parties are for, to bring out the flaws. But on the other side, we need to take a better approach, a better approach. If we're not succeeding in this approach, we need to say, look, let's try this approach. Maybe it will work, especially in the interest of your colleagues. In the interest of your colleagues. So I will come back again and say, look, UNEBA, the organization here in the United States, is trying to help to solve those problems in Liberia. That we will have a project committee. And I can show you that, look, Combrian, I know you will continue to remain resolute on what you intend to do, but when you go back, have a second thought and say, look, I listen to the big brothers. I know they were telling me some things, but I was very straightforward. But I will let's give them a call sometimes, before you even go in the press. Let's give them a call before you go into the press because once you give us a call before you go into the press, you will get to know that those problems will be solved because we know the buttons to press to ensure that those situations do not escalate. So
Thank you.
again, we're a very smart gentleman. Soup our producing smart students. You know,
Thank you. So,
yes, thank
so,
you very much.
so Isaac and Jimmy has, starting with Isaac, as members of the Alumni Association. Now, hearing from, we say, Combrian, hearing from Mr. Nyam, what is your take? How do you intend to work together with, first of all, do you have a better understanding than before of the issues that are there? And moving forward, what is the Alumni Association is going to do in addressing some of the things that the brother has spoken about? Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you very much. And I really want to thank Brother Yan for articulating the needs. We are all quite aware of those needs and the concerns that the university had. I want you to know that this Alumni Association, from the onset of its revitalization, has been in very, very strong contact with university administration from the days of Dr. Dennis to the days of Dr. Weeks to the days of Salvador Nelson. All of those presidents came here. We invited them and had discussion with them to the point that the leadership at the university level has serious respect for this alumni association. When we mention making use of the network, we are part of the university. They pour into us, the university pour into us who we have become. And so we have an obligation to give back to the university in so many ways. The advocacy that you do, we want you to continue, and when CA asks whether we think we want to suppress it or for you to stop it, no. It is how can we augment it? How can we reinforce it? You made a statement that you need to speak out and shame the government. But you see, if you're only speaking all by yourself, you know what the government said? Oh, that those soup boys and they're ready for the stuff again. Boop, and they do that. Just send the police there and quiet them. They will grab some of the students. They will beat some of those. Some people will get wounded, some will go to jail, and all of those things. And they just see that those support and they're having confusion. You check it out, that maybe that's this people giving them money to cause confusion on the university. When you use your network and they have respect for other groups of people within your network who can call and say, listen, man, what you can't have this happen. And we are talking and advocating, saying the same things you want to say, and you're not saying it. The shame that you're talking about, what they don't want, will move them to acting in a way that will, remove that shame. And because now they have so much respect for the organization, and the organization is saying, we're coming to the table, this is what we need, these are the solutions we want us to see. We have an opportunity to join you in that advocacy, be a second voice in the advocacy in a way that we can really get to discussing how we can resolve the issue rather than, what we normally would just resort to that obviously would not yield the result that we want. So advocacy is a part of our program. We have an arm of the association that is called University Relations. And that's what that group is responsible for. And so we need to be able to be in contact with you. We are in contact with the Alumni Association. We are in contact. I don't know what Mary Kekula's position is, but we want to be in contact with the SUP-led leadership. So when these things come, whether it is the SUP-led leadership of just the current interim leadership, or what, we all come together and discuss what would be our approach. And you use a verse that is hearable to say the same thing that you want to say and give the backing that you need so that we can help with some, proposing some of the solutions as we will discuss them and see what we can do. But we are just saying that historically, this has not helped us.
Jimmy, one of the elements in the room, even Mr. Yan said, the political interference, starting with the president, right? The president appoints the president of the university. I mean, they're not turning, so the president can remove them anytime they want, right? So what solution are you proposing as to addressing the issues that we constantly see at your alma mater?
A very good question. First of all, the appointment of the university head, I do not think it's correct. I believe it should not be a political appointee. Look at the universities around here. You don't see them being appointed by political heads of state and stuff like that. The board seeks out a person that they think will lead the university, that they think that will promote the university, and then they vote on it and then evaluate the person, take a vote on it, and then they do it. Why are we making it a political issue? I think there's too much power given to the executive in Liberia. We need to find a way to dissipate some of that power. Maybe things will be operating better. Right now, we're advocating for superintendents and whatnot to be elected. So we want to diffuse that power. So what is the reason behind appointing the university president? Why not just have the board seek out an academic who is capable of running the university? I think there's some of these trends, they may have been adopted of old, but I'm surprised that since 1980, since 1990, these things have not been changed. There's nothing changing, and this is why we appreciate Emmanuel, because we were down there in the trenches a long time ago. But what we notice is that things not changing. For 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, the same old chants, the same chants we use are the same chants being used in imperialism. Abba! We heard this years ago, and we still hear it today. What are we not? We have to move the needle. And to move the needle, I think we have to regroup, look at different other means that we can approach these issues. Use every resource available to you. And I agree with my brothers here, Wisner and Smith. I think that your alumni association is one of the most powerful assets you have, and I would definitely log into them so that they can get on board. I think there's more possibilities to the Alumni Association because of their influence. Many of us have since leaving the university are at different institutions now all over the world. We could find a way for those institutions to help our alma mater. We could even volunteer to teach at those. Many of them we have some qualification that we could help with without being paid. So
Thank you, Jimmy.
I look at it like as an opportunity for us to make a change.
Thank you. We're about to close, so let's ask Emmanuel for his closing, and then we're going to be wrapping this up.
So again, let me say thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be with multiple veterans of the University of Liberia and to continue to aid and to advocate for the university to different audience in the diaspora and Liberia here as a whole. I've sat again and listening to multiple closing comments that we should do things new. And I'm kind of wondering, like I think Mr. Jimmy said, yesteryears they have heard a chant against imperialism, against colonialism, and this and that. But if we should do something new, what we chanted against yesteryears has it changed? I had an interview with some local journalists here in Liberia, and I said the first president of the University of Liberia is Joseph Jenkins Rago. If he wake up from his grave, maybe there's a rapture and he's wake up from his grave and walk to the University of Liberia and walk in his office, you're going to meet his office the way it was, and nothing will surprise him. If he will walk to the library, the books that was donated by him will still be in the library at it is. Nothing new or no new added version will be added to the library, to the books that were left by Joseph Jenkins Rabo. So if nothing is changing, why should we change our approach? This is something that we should all think about, because many a times people think that we as militants on campus, I'm not talking about you people, because these are a lot of the opinions that we get here from people that are not politically aware and are not politically conscious about the society within which they live. Yesteryears, in June 16, the students in South Africa was struggling against the Butus education. When there were multiple struggle for education and democracy around the world, today, those countries that struggle against these barriers, the students are not facing these barriers anymore. They are involved into innovation, into creativity, into science, into a competitive society that its values is implanted in young generations of leaders, and that impact and food is delivered fruitfully for the survival of the state and in continuity. In Liberia, has it changed? We are still learning on chalkboard. We have a school that cannot provide education that can compete with students on regional levels. What have changed? We can only change our methodology of approaching issues when we have advanced to another dispensation. We stay in the, let me say, 16th or 17th century models of learning. How should we advance our advocacies in the context of maybe a 21st century? When you write government ministry government official, and they are not listening. Look, this is a government currently. This current government that is arrogant and egoistic in their approach. This government that will see criticism, and you see people, the officials and ministers at the Ministry of Information abusing opposition and critical voices for being critical. And then you say we should change our approach of advocacy towards these people that see advocacies and being critical as a threat to democracy, people that abuse power and use state security as a weapon against critical voices. Nothing is changing. The same hostile situation that you confronted with yesterday is the same hostile situation that is here today.
Thank you.
On international university or on university in the sub-region, police don't just invade university campus, but on the University of Liberia, it's common, it's regular. So nothing have changed. So because nothing have changed, the pattern of our advocacies will continue to conform with the current realities of the day, and will continue to engage the system the way we think best and suited possible, so that our voices can be heard and quick solutions can be brought to the university problem. Even though it may appear archaic because the environment you live, the conditions you live in, the space you see, the people you interact with are all advanced, but for Liberia, the situation is worse, it's terrible. And if this is the only form and method they can hear, we are here to give them that, and we are prepared to do it. So again, thank you for giving us the opportunity. It's a pleasure, and we look forward to be back anytime we are invited.
Thank you, and please expect to be back very soon. Thank you again for coming. You have some colleagues who try very hard to join, but it was not possible. Convey our sentiments. We say thank you also very much. I want to thank the management of Kia Radio and those who are all watching. At this time, we're going to close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night and God bless.
We are